Our next speaker is Leilani Dowell. That would be me. Seriously though, I'm about to speak. So, comrades and friends, on Thursday, a delegation including myself, comrades Michael Kramer, Sue Kelly, Martha Gravatt, Peter Gilbert, and two friends of the party will travel to Honduras to show our solidarity with the resistance there during the country's national elections, which take place on November 24th. This will be the third time the International Action Center has sent a delegation to Honduras. The first was in October of 2009, when democratically elected President Mel Zelaya was overthrown in a US-supported coup. And that first time, we were able to witness with our own eyes a burgeoning and exciting resistance movement incorporating all sectors of Honduras' working class. And we were able to report back on a daily basis about, the progression of the struggle there. That movement has continued to grow, organized under the umbrella National Popular Resistance Front, known as the FNRP in Spanish. They have created the Libertad y Refundación Party, also known as Libre, and their candidate, Xiomara Castro de Zelaya, has a narrow lead in the polls over the ruling National Party candidate. Castro de Zelaya is the spouse of Mel Zelaya, and if elected will be the fourth woman president of a Central American country and the first woman president for Honduras. She vows to hold a national constituent assembly, which will include all sectors of Honduran society in the process of rewriting the country's constitution. And this is the goal that Mel Zelaya had attempted before he was ousted in the coup by right-wing forces in 2009. She's also promised to demilitarize the country. Now, as the movement in Honduras has grown, the movement that has kind of pushed and created a situation where Castro de Zelaya could lead in the polls. As that movement has grown, so has the repression in Honduras. Since Porfirio Lobo was elected in 2009, and I say elected in scare quotes, because no country on the Western Hemisphere except the United States believed that the elections following the coup were in any way legitimate. But since then, Hondurans have faced a number of repressive measures, from the kidnapping, torture, and assassination of resistance activists and leaders, journalists, LGBTQ people, and lawyers, to death squad social cleansing killing operations committed by Honduran police forces, to the imprisonment of resistance leaders under frame-up bogus charges. Since the coup, at least 104 campesinos have been assassinated, as well as 6 Libre officers and candidates. 5 LGBTQ people were assassinated in August alone. The same forces who carried out the coup in 2009 are now the forces who occupy top positions in the military and the government. Meanwhile, the Center for Economic and Policy Research reports that much of the economic and social progress that occurred during Mel Zelaya's tenure has largely been reversed. While extreme poverty decreased under Zelaya, it has increased by 26% under Lobo. The number of workers making minimum wage has increased from 29% to 45%. And for its part, the U.S. has increased its funding for the Honduran police and military every year since 2010, and by at least $95 million in 2012. The U.S. is heavily funding the election process in Honduras this year, and while 12 U.S. senators have recently sent a letter to Secretary of State Kerry, urging him to ensure that the elections are free and fair, we all know that the U.S.'s track record with Central American elections should give anyone pause. And yet, with all of this said, the resistance continues in Honduras, as it always will, anywhere people are continually and ruthlessly oppressed. Campesinos and indigenous people, often led by women, continue to occupy land stolen from them by multinational corporations and conglomerates. The FNRP continues to garner support on the streets, even in the face of a newly formed military police force with some 5,000 officers roaming the streets in black face masks, and yet the protests still continue on the streets, and people still organize. Comrades and friends, we are proud to be participating in this third delegation to Honduras, to monitor the elections, to meet with indigenous and campesino groups, and to report back through the pages of our newspaper and other avenues. We recognize the importance of the struggle in Honduras, the momentum of the resistance that is inspiring Central and Latin America, and also, also a prime example of how to lead. I think Teresa mentioned earlier today, a model of real people's power and people's power organizing that includes all sectors, that, really thinks about including women, LGBT people, campesinos, unemployed, disabled. The list goes on and on and on, and they really know and work hard to incorporate all of those together and support all of those different struggles. No, honestly, I thought I wrote a really short talk, and so I'm glad that I have just 2 minutes left. Let's see, where was I? Okay, the resistance has already won a victory by the very fact of its continued existence in the face of this repression. But the victory of Xiomara Castro de Zelaya will strike a blow to the U.S.'s model of dealing with Latin American countries through coups when opposition to the imperialist project of neoliberalism, I can never say it, neoliberalism and privatization flares up. Once again, we know the history of U.S. financing, U.S. support for coups in Latin America. We can go back decades. Now they're trying to reinstate that model, and they've been looking. They look to Honduras to see what will happen post coup. And so this is a very important struggle that's happening right now for all of Latin America. As Teresa mentioned earlier, Castro de Zelaya has called for democratic socialism in Honduras. And so, I just want to, in conclusion, say, comrades and friends, it is of utmost importance that we pay close attention and provide all our support and solidarity to the people of Honduras. So.